So how on earth is this all going to shape up? Let me bring in Anthony Randazzo. He's Director of Economic Research at the Reason Foundation. Welcome to the show, Anthony.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Senate version. And it has that very curious individual mandate repeal. Do you think that is the most perilous part of the Senate's tax plan?
I think it reflects the peril that the Senate's tax plan has, which is that they are trying to find a whole bunch of different ways to afford this. Adding the individual mandate there is not actually, I don't think that's about the politics of Obamacare. It's about trying to actually find revenue to pay for some of the other tax things that they're trying to do differently in the tax bill. That reflects the politics of the whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't have a problem with that, because if you're cutting costs and saving $338 billion over 10 years, that's not too problematic. It's also philosophically consistent with what Republicans have been saying for so long. And, you know, that seems like a gimme, but you have people like Susan Collins, who operates as though she's from a totally different party.
She is from a different party.
Yeah, which is fine. Then have different parties and allow people to create coalitions, because the way they're doing it, nothing's ever going to get done.
Well, that's what I mean by it's reflective. Like, there's a certain component of the Republican base, Republican Party, yourself included, and myself, that we really don't like the individual mandate.
Yeah.
We want to get rid of it however we can. It's philosophically consistent, but they're trying to take tax reform in the notion of we're going to make it simpler, we're going to make it fair, we're going to make it better for businesses, and then they're trying to add on a whole bunch of different pieces to try and make it fit politically.
Which isn't really tax reform, is it?
It ceases to become tax reform that's trying to get the code simpler. I mean, the tax bill, both the House and the Senate versions, both of them leave alone, for the most part, the mortgage interest deduction, which is one of the most ridiculous parts of the tax code. There's a whole bunch of debates over how we want to get the rate for pass-through small businesses set up in different from the individuals.
And that's fair, because there are a lot of people who are trying to sell lowering the corporate rate as being good for all businesses. You know, if you're incorporated in a sole proprietorship, that's vastly different, and that's why you need the lower pass-through rate and that deduction.
But there shouldn't even be a debate about the lower pass-through rate if this is all about trying to get it simpler, right?
Yeah.
If this is all about trying to create a less cumbersome tax code that has lower rates for all businesses across the board. The fact that there is any debate, the fact that Ron Johnson even has to come out and say,
there's
you know,
any parity.
You're right, that I'm going to demand this component, that's going to be my piece. And there's going to be people say, no, I want the individual mandate part of this, and then we're going to have to go back.
There's not parity, though. It's not even. It should all be 20%. I agree with you completely, but I think they're terrified. And taxes and healthcare, those are two areas where they have to legislate like they don't care if they're reelected. And no one's willing to do that. They're also not willing to cut spending that way either.
I think it reflects one of the major differences of the way that the Senate and the House really are functioning right now. They were able to push this through the House because this was a leadership-led thing. And in the Senate, it is because there's multiple parties within the Republican Party right now, and there are multiple different wings. And there are people like Jeff Flake that actually don't care. If they're going to get reelected, obviously, and that's a positive thing from the philosophical things that we agree with them on, but it does put in peril the whole thing.
If a senator decided that at the beginning of his or her 6-year term, that would be great. But when you're up for re-election next year, it doesn't hold that much weight. All right. Well, Anthony, so good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me by.
So smart.